Some big breaking news coming in now. Vikramaditya, who resigned earlier today, citing insult to his family, has now taken back his resignation. This after Bhupender Hooda and DK Shivkumar, the two observers who were sent by the Congress leadership, convinced him to do so. What really played out? Are we seeing a visible shift in the government? Is there a possibility of a new chief ministerial candidate? Let me bring in Neeta Sharma, who's joining me from Shimla. Neeta, over to you. Is he likely to be the next chief minister?
That only the people who are sitting here and meeting them can tell, Maria. But we are coming to you live from the Cecil Hotel, where the observers are meeting the MLAs right now. Just few minutes back, Pratibha Singh and her son Vikramaditya came out. He informed the media that he has taken his resignation back. In fact, even the chief minister himself said that he had spoken to him and he's like his younger brother, and all the misunderstandings are now over. So the kind of patch up is already happening as far as Congress is concerned. But the observers here are here. They are meeting. They are going to meet each and every MLA individually, also trying to figure out as to what went wrong in Congress. Congress got a huge majority when they formed the government here, but despite that, they were not able to get the Rajya Sabha ticket nominated from here, and that's the reason why the observers are here. However, when we spoke to the chief minister himself, he says that his government is going to last for the remaining term. But when I also spoke to Jairam Thakur, who is the former chief minister from Bharatiya Janata Party, he said the way his MLAs were thrown out of the assembly, that itself shows that this government is going to last only few days, and they don't have the confidence, and that's the reason why they bulldozed their party MLAs and they threw him out. Although the budget was passed through voice vote and the House was declared sine die a day before it was scheduled to get over.
I want to play
Maria?
that soundbite of Vikramaditya, what he had said when he held the press conference announcing his resignation from the Council of Ministers of Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu, and then I go back to Neeta.
जिस व्यक्ति 6 बार जो हिमाचल प्रदेश का मुख्यमंत्री रहा, 6 बार, जिसने ये सरकार बनाई, जिसकी वजह से ये सरकार बनी प्रदेश के अंदर, उसकी मूर्ति लगाने के लिए 2 गज जमीन इनको माल रोड के ऊपर नहीं मिली। वर्तमान परिस्थिति में मेरा इस सरकार में बने रहना ठीक नहीं है, इसलिए आज मैंने ये निर्णय लिया है that I am resigning from the Council of Ministers. आने वाले समय में फ्यूचर कोर्स ऑफ एक्शन को जो है वो डिसाइड किया जाएगा.
So it changed in a matter of few hours. That press conference was held roughly around noon, and now Vikramaditya taking back his resignation. What has he been promised? Has he been promised some plum portfolio? Has there been some other promises that have been made to Pratibha Singh, late to Veerbhadra Singh's wife, and his family? Most of them are those MLAs who have rebelled, are seen to be close to this faction. A story we'll track very closely. For the moment, it appears that Sukhwinder Singh Sukhu's government in Himachal is safe. Shifting focus to our story this evening, with 2 weeks to go for the Election Commission of India to announce the poll dates for the Lok Sabha elections, the victory of the BJP in the Rajya Sabha polls has meant near dominance of the NDA in the upper house. The NDA today commands 118 in the 240-member Rajya Sabha, with the BJP holding the bulk of 96 seats. Its highest ever tally since 2014, when the BJP came to power with Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the helm. Though in the last 5 years, with support of friendly, unattached parties like the BJD and the YSRCP, no agenda of the Modi government, be it GST or triple talaq or abrogation of Article 370, remained unfulfilled. But a numerical strength in the House of Elders is something that the BJP would want to push for issues closer to it, be it the Uniform Civil Code or One Nation, One Election. In the past, Indira Gandhi's government in the 1966 to 77, that decade, and Rajiv Gandhi's government from 1984 to 1989, 5 years, enjoyed that kind of total control of parliament, both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and the aggressive push of their agenda was evident. So with Rajya Sabha now turning saffron completely, what should we be expecting going forward? Joining me on the show are some veteran journalists and observers of politics who have tracked India and Indian politics for decades. Neerja Chaudhary, Smita Prakash, Sandeep Shastri, Amitabh Tiwari, and Professor Santosh Mehrotra, who's a senior economist. Neerja Chaudhary, coming to you. There are only two governments in the past which have seen complete control or dominance of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. Mr. Modi's government is seeing that at this point, 2 weeks to go for the Lok Sabha elections. He has been promising a third term to his voters. He understands that at the moment they are very much in the pole position. What will it really mean for the BJP?
Look, I'm sitting in Mumbai, Maria, and I find in the, corporate finance, the chattering world, the buzz really is on why Mr. Modi is insisting on reaching the 370 mark. And is it because that it constitutes 2/3 majority? I mean, but why 2/3 majority is he insisting on? And from the way they fought back yesterday, the way the cross-voting took place, with an aggressiveness, this is a phenomenon we've seen over the years, but there is an aggressiveness about it in Himachal, in UP, fighting for every single seat in the Lok Sabha as well as the Rajya Sabha. So also to reach the 2/3 mark in the Rajya Sabha. So what is it that Mr. Modi has in mind to be able to get through his legislative business and also maybe constitutional changes? He's talked about a transformational agenda if the party comes to power for the third time. What that constitutional agenda will constitute, we don't know. Does it mean some people in his in the party, senior people say that he will go against corruption in a big way next time round? It may also include tough laws being enacted. All that is for the future. Mr. Modi likes to surprise, so one shouldn't second guess what he's going to do. But certainly the 370 figure and the aggressive campaign that one is seeing coming from the BJP, more aggressive than it has shown in the past. That has raised, eyebrows, certainly sitting in the financial capital here.
Okay. Smita Prakash, as someone who has tracked politics and government for several years, what does this number, the numerical strength, particularly in the House of Elders, that the BJP has been fighting for, can do? We can talk about one nation, one election, an agenda that they had been pushing for since 1984, the first election that the BJP fought after it came into existence in 1980. But, recall for our viewers what happened before that when Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi enjoyed that strength.
Correct. Thank you, Maria. Since 1984, as you pointed out, since that election, and that was also under traumatic circumstances, we had just lost a prime minister, assassinated prime minister. So since then, no party has secured a majority on its own, which was till 2014. So, Neerja was telling us the mood in Mumbai, the financial capital, and businesses, they always back continuity. They back stability. They back, markets don't like any kind of disruption. So they are talking about, they're talking about how many seats and whether it's going to be what many people like to call a brute majority. And that is what I think the BJP also wants. That is why it is fighting tooth and nail even for Rajya Sabha, something that maybe the millennials, for them, it is commonplace. But for my generation, Rajya Sabha used to be this genial House of Elders where it was hardly ever contested. Even this time, not every seat has been contested. Now, the BJP goes to the electorate, Maria, with this promise or with this notion that majorities that they have in many states and in the center, because of that, there is smoother implementation of policies and programs. But there is one section in our country which always feels that a strong government is not consultative in nature. They don't try to work on consensus, and but these are people, just remember, who don't like disruptions. Whenever they are status quoists. They have benefited from the systems which keep a certain plateau of continuity going. So anything that is progressive has to be disruptive. We've seen that historically. So,
Yes.
When we talk about democracies around the world, this is a larger subject, but democracies around the world, just one line, democracies around the world are grappling with the threats to the systems which have existed in place since the 20th century. 21st century has to be more adaptive in nature as far as governments are concerned.
Yes, and that's right. What we saw during UPS, Sandeep Shastri, was about politics of compulsion here. And here is politics of dominance, which is playing out clearly. If we were to recall what happened during those days of 1984, 1989, there were a telecom revolution, computerization, voting age reduced from 21 to 18, national policy on education. These were key policy decisions taken by Rajiv Gandhi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP has set their eyes on UCC because that is the only unfulfilled agenda with which BJP came to power. They understand this promise of one nation, one election. So again, for our viewers, what was it and what is now? And what could happen?
Maria, you spoke about the politics of compulsion of the past. I'm going to speak about the compulsion of politics in the present.
Okay.
I think it's just a reversal of the terminologies that you see. What the UPA saw was a politics of compulsion, accommodation, and what the BJP and the NDA are trying to project, especially in 2024, is the compulsion of politics for terms of taking forward an agenda. If you look at the Rajya Sabha elections which have just happened, I think for me that is just a window to look at the approach that the BJP has adopted. Normally it says it takes an 18-year cycle for an entire change in the composition of the Rajya Sabha to happen, given the nature of membership. But 10 years down the line, the BJP, through a very systematic approach of winning over other parties and also asserting their presence, has been able to gain a strength in the house which is among the largest it has. But Maria, going back to your larger question, I think if you look at the 2024 elections and how the BJP is projecting itself, it has a clear election package. And I have been saying this, though I'm changing one or two words here and there. This package has certain clear elements. I have often called it the 5 M's. It has Modi as part of its element, his leadership. It has Mandir as part of its element. It has the Mahila as part of the element, the woman vote, which is seen as very crucial. And off late, the talk of the Mazdoor, of the poor. And finally, an element which others have also referred to, the mystery element, which is always a surprise element which the BJP brings in as it moves forward.
Okay.
And this is something you're going to see on how they are trying to take an advantage. And it'll be interesting to see how the opposition is going to respond to this package that they are coming up with.
Okay, Mr. Mehrotra, as an economist, continuity is the key here, and what Nirja is sensing in Mumbai is something that is being discussed at multiple places now. Why 370? But when we go back in time, during Rajiv Gandhi's tenure, and Prime Minister Modi is always believed to be setting targets for himself, and that is the reason why he chose a particular platform on the floor of the House to say 370. Rajiv Gandhi also, given the kind of mandate that he had, and a quick recap for our viewers, it came to almost over 500, a combination of 405 of the Congress in 1984, 1989, that period, plus 108 in the Rajya Sabha, led to this kind of policy changes. So what are you anticipating in the world of economics and policy?
Well, first of all, I'd go along with Neerja ji's analysis and evaluation that the 370 takes the government all the way to 67%, just over 67%. That means a 2/3 majority. That means ability to change the constitution. And honestly, changing the constitution has rather little to do with economics. I'll come back to the economic issue in a minute, Maria, but let me just sort of say a few sentences more about changing the constitution, because that's clearly what the goal seems to be. Whether they will get to 370, whether they will even get to 73 remains an open question. I can question the fact whether they will even get to 273, forget about 370. But I fully endorse the point of view that Neerja ji is making, that they want to change the constitution because they want to constitute a Hindu Rashtra. And that's the reason. But going back to your question about the economy, let's just remind ourselves, Maria, that a minority government between 2004 and 14, the UPA government, the industry which Neerja ji is talking about, which is sort of concerned about why he's going after 370, well, this industry was very happy and were laughing their way to the bank. Thank you very much. After all, investment rate in the economy was on average over the 10-year period about 33 to 34%. Despite a stable government and a majority government and a very strong government for the last 10 years, never has the investment to GDP ratio even reached 31%, which is what this government inherited in 2013-14, 0.1, 0.2. The minority government delivered a growth rate of 8% per annum. This majority government has delivered a growth rate of merely 5.7% per annum. 0.3. A lot more money is flowing out from India. The ultra high net worth people, UHNIs, have gone out of the country in the last year, two years alone, 7,000 people. There was no such thing happening in the minority government. So,
Okay, so you're trying to make that distinction of majority and minority government. Amitabh Tiwari, coming in on this, 370, it's essentially 2/3, a mandate for constitutional changes.
See, essentially, I don't remember in the past 5 years any bill which the BJP has brought in the Lok Sabha and it has not received 2/3 numbers. So, I mean, they've always received 2/3 or the bills have been passed in a unanimous voice. No voting has taken place in most of the bills, at least in the Lok Sabha level. In the Rajya Sabha, even after the party gets, or the NDA bloc gets a simple majority of 122, after you include the 6 nominations which are going to take place sometime in April and May, it will still fall short of the 2/3 number. And brute power does bring in a false sense of confidence. What happened after 1984 to 1989 period? Rajiv Gandhi lost in the elections. The Congress party never got more than 250 seats. And his tenure was the highest in number of seats in both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha combined. If I remember correctly, Congress had simple majority even in the Rajya Sabha at that point of time.
That's right, 108.
I think it was more than that, perhaps 120, 123. So, of course, the Prime Minister has said that the third term will be a term of big decisions and changes, and they do require the 2/3 number to pass the important bills like One Nation, One Poll and Uniform Civil Code, which is one of the long-term pending promises of the Bharatiya Janata Party. However, I think this term will also see more consultations. We will see a more different approach in Prime Minister's approach, because he wants to acquire now the status of a statesman. And if the party wins, I see a more reconciliatory approach rather than a more aggressive approach, despite the numbers which the BJP.
All right. Neerja, as the author of How Prime Ministers Decide, what does a 2/3 majority, what will it really mean if you have this kind of number in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha? How will the Prime Minister decide?
Yeah, you look, many people have expressed the fear that whether they will change the constitution, going for a theocratic state, But again, referring to the voices I heard today, which normally one doesn't hear in Bombay. Bombay reacts, has wants the continuity in economy, it wants a politically stable government, they welcome all that. And, moving towards taking the steps that will take us towards India becoming a third largest economy, all those are welcome things they do. But the signs of worry, that the tinge of worry, I would say, was not on theocratic state. It was on whether we are headed for a one-party rule in India. And what will that entail? So now, as I said, the Prime Minister talked about the agenda for the third term being transformational. Does it mean systemic changes that have been long pending taking place, administrative reforms, police reforms, judicial reforms, of course, are there, controversial subject, and so on. But also, I think, as I said, will he take on corruption in a big way to tell people I'm cleansing the system? Some people near the seat of power in Delhi believe that the Prime Minister is expected to become more inclusive in his third term, reach out to the minorities in a new way.
Will it be more accommodative with the kind of number? Let's wait and see, and how the Lok Sabha elections actually pan out to give that kind of total dominance in Parliament. Of course, the Rajya Sabha picture is more or less clear. Thank you so much for your time, Neerja Chaudhary, Smita Prakash, Sandeep Shastri, Amitabh Tiwari, and Professor Mehrotra. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching.